So it is 7 o'clock and we'll call this meeting to order, the Charter Township of Bedford for August 18th, 2022. We'll stand for a moment of silent reflection followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Could be the Lord.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Roll call attendance.
Supervisor Jones.
Here.
Clerk Faracco here. Treasurer Miller.
Here.
Trustee Hires.
Here.
Trustee Beamish.
Here.
Trustee Greenwood.
Here.
Trustee Dingman.
Here.
7. We have a quorum.
Next on the agenda is approval of the August 18th, 2022 agenda, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to approve the August 18th, that should say, agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Moved by Beamish. Second.
Who was it?
Erica got it.
Erica.
Okay. Roll call.
Supervisor Jones.
Yes.
Clerk Faracco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
7 yes. Motion carried.
Next on the agenda is approval of the July 14th, 2022 minutes, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to approve the July 14th, 2022 minutes as submitted. Roll call? Oh, I'm sorry. Moved by
And support by
Beamish.
Dingman.
Dingman. Okay, and then roll call?
Clerk Faracco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
Supervisor Jones.
Yes.
7 yes. Motion carried.
And next on the agenda, item 7, approval of the July 25th, 2022 special meeting minutes, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to approve the July 25th special meeting minutes as submitted.
Please move to correct the time on that from
And
AM to AM, please.
Thank you. Friendly amendment to that is time, the time was AM on that change. And with that amendment,
Who moved?
moved was Dingman?
Who supported? Beamish.
Beamish. Okay, roll call?
Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
Supervisor Jones.
Yes.
Clerk Faracco. 7 yes. Motion carried.
Okay. Okay, and next on the agenda is the supervisor's announcements for this evening. Just want to mention that we did complete the RFP. We had one for the Skeet Skierman security cameras. We only received one bid for that, and we've reviewed that. We still need to get a quote from Comcast, because we will need cable to that park in order to work the cameras. And we also need a quote on the electric from an electrical contractor, so we'll put bids out for that. We probably can't get this in until the spring anyway, because some of this equipment is on back order, so that's likely when it would be put in. So we'll be presenting that total package to the board in the next several months, hopefully. In terms of the building security enhancements, I just want to clarify, because there was some misinformation that went out at our last special meeting. And I want to say again, I think Trustee Hires did a good job of explaining it, but unfortunately there was a lot of interruption, so I'm not sure that everyone heard. And I think it's important that all the citizens hear that this has been in the works for over a year. There have been security concerns at this building for a long time. So this has been planned. This was not rushed through. The purpose of that meeting was specifically to approve the amount of money, which we are required to do under our own purchasing policy. That was the reason for the meeting. That was why the meeting was conducted. It was conducted in full compliance with the Open Meetings Act, okay? And if anyone has any further questions about that, I'd be happy to talk with you after the meeting about it. Additionally, we had, you knew earlier that we had given Ardmore Park back to the county. We never owned Ardmore Park, that we were renting or leasing it, if you will, for $1, I believe, per year. And that was so that we could maintain the park. The problem is it was costing us a lot of money to maintain that park. We have 6 additional parks that our buildings and grounds people do a lot of work in and maintenance, and it costs us a lot of money. That park was becoming a real problem in terms of broken glass, litter, and it was costing us a lot of money, and it's the county's responsibility. So I've tried to impress upon the people that have called with concerns about that, again, we don't own that park. I've talked with Steve Frisbee about it. They were having a Parks and Rec meeting, in fact, this afternoon. He's going to talk with Dan, their person who's in charge of parks, to make sure that we are on a plan that Ardmore Park gets taken care of. So again, this is no longer our responsibility. I feel bad for the people in that neighborhood, but it was nothing we could assume anymore fiscally as a township. We get, what is it, $26,000, I believe, for our parks and millage. That has to go between 6 parks, and so that's a lot. That's not a lot of money to maintain those. And then I've gotten a lot of calls from people who live in the residential area on North Washington Avenue. There's been a problem there for quite a long time of speeding traffic, both heading north to Morgan and heading south up from Morgan off of Washington. And there have been numerous accidents in that area. A little Mrs. Linda Lane has called me several times. She's very concerned about children in that area who are out playing, especially in the summer, that these accidents are even happening during the day. So I've talked with Christine Parsons at the County Road Department, and this probably shows my naivety about roads, but I thought, well, maybe we could put up speed bumps. Well, speed bumps, I guess, don't work very well in the north or northern climates because of the snow plowing that we have to do. So it tears up the plow blades, it tears up the road. So she had suggested, she said the best deterrent is more patrols. And we have asked for that, and the BCPD has done a great job with limited resources of doing that for us. But she also said that installing one of the speed awareness signs, radar signs, can be a real deterrent also. So she is getting a quote for us to what would that be. I had said, well, we have 2 that have been donated to the township that are related to, or they're solar powered. The problem with that, she said, is they really don't work well in the winter. We don't have enough sun to keep those powered. So she suggested a directly wired one, so that we'll get a quote on that. I do want to respond to these individuals. They are very frustrated and concerned, and I understand that. And the other thing that I think we need to address is that we've had some issues with the Treasurer's Department. We've had some issues in terms of attendance of people being in the Treasurer's office. We've had a lot of complaints over the last month related to people coming in to pay their taxes, and we don't have good communication, unfortunately. This is something that we just have to address. We have to be a team, we have to work together, we have to communicate, and we have to find a way to provide those services for our citizens. That's one of the things we do. We're in the middle of tax season. None of us, the rest of us here, are bonded to accept tax payments. So between the treasurer and the deputy treasurer, we need to find a way to have that office manned and to be able to serve the citizens of the Township of Bedford. Okay, and those are my announcements for now. Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. You may, if you have a comment you'd like to make, you have 3 minutes. You may come to the podium and address the board. On agenda items only, thank you. Any public comment at this time? No public comment? No public comment? You can, if you'd like to come and address the board. Okay.
Here, I have some podium, right? I read the minutes. So Terry Godey, Wabascon Road. I appreciate the resolution that's here. I think it's Resolution 55. That you have posted not just the resolution number, but the information for it. It would be nice to see a board meeting be attended by adults and conducted as adults. So I think that's very needed. It's been a long time coming, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen wishing to address the board?
Hello, Adam Michael, former supervisor here. Chuckles from the audience are the people that make and made these meetings a circus and a clown show. Some of these members on this board are at fault for making these meetings a clown show when the supervisor is in charge of conducting meetings. And so I know she's bringing forth, Joni, you're bringing forth these this change that you feel is going to make a difference, but you only do it because you've not been able to control the meeting. You've been scared. You literally sat here and told us that you were threatened of someone that was just standing here speaking, not making a single threat at all. It's disgusting and wrong. You have contradictions in this your own rules here. I don't want to point them out. I want you to.
Please speak up a little bit.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Speak up.
We want to hear what you're saying, because I like it.
So are they allowed to interrupt now because you haven't done the rules yet? Is that how it goes? Because it's me speaking, they don't get to be told that they're supposed to be quiet in the meeting or removed from the meeting? Are you kidding me? Do you want to see the pattern that's repeated over and over now?
Adam, they're not.
This is what's going on.
They're not speaking right now, and your time
Yes,
is running.
my time is running now, and I'd like to reclaim that time that we had to stop
You can
here.
have 15 extra seconds. Go ahead.
Okay. Because you do the rules, and all of the political power people here do the rules according to the way you control the power yourselves. And the pattern has been shown. It's been repeated. And people laugh and laugh. These are the people that caused the chaos in the meeting and are now thanking because they think, oh, because now these rules are going to be somehow preventing people like myself from just speaking truth in the meetings. That's a reality, that's something that's good for these people because they're confused. The people that spoke up like this last time got told to be quiet. Again. Just you continue to be quiet there and show exactly the people on this recording that you will not do the same things that you did in the other meetings and tell people to be quiet. It's a repeated pattern here in this township. I'm glad I got recalled because I was never one of you, right, Joyce? It's what you said to me. I've never felt like one of you guys.
I'll agree with that.
It's because people like her that come in and yelled at me in the first week in my job when I simply asked her if she had a deputy that would help her. But she didn't even at the time legally have her duties filled in her job. And now we have you going after people in that position instead, and it's not going to happen because.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Yeah,
You're-
don't
Mr.
stand
Heigl,
up there
thank
and
you.
criticize me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You screamed.
Okay, you're out of order.
Because
Because I
None of
asked
your
the
fucking
question.
business.
Because
Okay.
your
Don't sit
duties
down.
shall have.
Okay, out of order.
Hey, you're not allowed.
Go sit down.
But she can
Adam,
you guys.
you're out of order.
You guys understand this?
You're
The
out of-
pattern
sit
of
down.
Behavior by the township.
That's your warning, Adam. That's your last warning. Next time I'll ask the police to usher you out. That's it. Public comment is over. You can speak again at the end of the meeting. Anyone else wish to speak during public comment? Anyone?
Yeah, I'm just curious why we have a psychopath,
Sir, can you state your name, please?
Anthony Sean.
Okay,
Agenda items only.
this is agenda items.
But he can just write me up. I call to see what's going on, and the dude just cusses me out and accuses me of all kinds of shit.
I'm not sure who you're speaking about, but.
Mike,
Okay. Thank you for your comments, and you can address the board again at the end of the meeting if you'd like to, on anything you'd like, not just agenda items. Any other public comments at this time? Any other public comments on agenda items only? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the meeting. Communications is next on the agenda. We have a list of all of the packet items. I won't read through those unless you have questions. And that's followed by item number 11, which is reports. And first we have the financial report. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to approve payment of the expenses totaling
Can you speak up, please?
$76,851.45. Can everyone hear me in the back okay? Okay.
I so move.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved by Beamish, support by Greenwood to approve expenses of $76,851.45. Roll call?
Hey, question.
Any discussion?
The 25,000 civil engineers, is that part of the water?
That was the consulting fee for the PFAS.
Okay.
Yeah, River Road project.
River Road
That was
project,
in the submission to the state.
Gotcha, thank you.
Any other discussion about the finances report? No. Okay, seeing none, roll call?
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
Supervisor Jones.
Yes.
Clerk Faracco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
Okay, next is public health and safety, and I believe Officer LaValle is on vacation. Do we have another officer? Okay, great. Officer Milliken, thank you.
Stand over here. Good evening, everybody. My name is Officer Milliken. I work for the Bedford Police Department. I'm one of the primary night shift officers up here in Bedford Township, so I work opposite of Officer LaValle, who's normally doing the reports up here. I'm just here tonight to talk about some incidents that have taken place in Bedford over the month of July, so only in July is what I'll be talking about. So in the area of Hussey Avenue and Michigan Avenue, we had a breaking and entering where somebody attempted to break out 2 windows on a garage. I'm not sure the outcome of that investigation right now. I believe that we are still investigating that one. There was a larceny that took place at Michigan Ave and Virginia Avenue. A trailer that was worth about $20,000 was stolen, and that trailer was later recovered in Calvin County during an accident investigation where they recovered that trailer. Another larceny occurred in the area of Michigan Avenue and Snow Avenue where a 6x6 trailer was stolen. That incident is still under investigation at this time. Another larceny took place of motor vehicle parts in the area of Bedford Road and Morgan Road. An exhaust system was taken from a vehicle that was valued at approximately $6,500. And again, that incident is still under investigation. Over in the Orchard Park neighborhood at the intersection of Boys and Calico in that area, there was an assault that also ended in a stolen vehicle. That vehicle was recovered in Penfield Township the same night of the incident. On North Yildrix Road, there was a robbery that resulted in the suspect being arrested. I'm not sure if that was the same night, but he was eventually arrested. Lastly, there was a report to forgery and counterfeit money in the area of Michigan Avenue and Custer Drive. I worked that case. A male had washed out $10 bills, reprinted them as hundreds, and then tried to use them at a store over there. It was $500 worth, and the money was seized at that business. The total number of arrests in the month of July was approximately 10. Those incidents included robbery, PPO violations, domestic assaults, operating while intoxicated, and disorderly conduct. Other calls for service that were considered high priority were animal complaints, check areas for suspicious activity, civil problems, civil complaints, domestic trouble, other person trouble calls, property damage accidents, which are just car accidents with no injuries, suicidal subjects, and welfare checks. Does anybody have any questions?
Whereabouts on Wilbur's was the robbery?
I can't say. If you want, you can go down to the police station and get the report, but I don't have the report number for you. I just know it was on North Wilbur's.
I noticed,
Yes, sir.
we went to the movies at the park, and I noticed kind of an excessive amount of police force out there.
Okay.
The movies in the park, like, I don't see them in my neighborhoods like that.
Okay. Was
Just
that
wonder if there was any extra reason for that.
the one last Friday?
It was.
So I was up there. It's
Yep, I actually.
yeah. I mean,
Yep.
it's it's a public thing. It's for the township as one of the night shift officers. We try to make ourselves
just in
visible.
the area, and they feel like they're both out there, and I appreciate you guys being.
Of course, it's nothing excessive. It's just us doing our job and being visible.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the fire report. Are you giving that, Chief?
As usual, the last month is, medicals is pretty well dominating it, so, except when that storm came through a couple of weeks ago and stuff, they were out quite a bit. A lot of trees come down blocking the road, some of them pretty good sized trees, they had to be moved maybe by the county to come out with an inloader to push them on the road, but it was quite a number of trees. It's surprising all of them coming down when they come through and cutting this and that down, but it's amazing how many trees that you got along the roads out here that the ants got into them and they're coming down. But that was busy. The medical runs have been pretty busy too on that. They right now, as today, we have 672 runs that we've made in the township here. Majority of them are medicals and stuff. We have, what, 4.5 more months to go. So if it's going the way it's going and stuff, we will be over the 1,000 mark this year again. The majority of it is on medicals and stuff. The other night, we had a trailer fire down there in Balm Court, down in there at 11 o'clock. I think a call come in. Said it was fully engulfed, so we made the run on that down there. And I was the first one to get on the scene, get down around there and find it and stuff. Side of the trailer was fully engulfed on fire and stuff around the porch area and stuff, so I pulled up there with a grass rig and grabbed a 1-inch hose off of there and stuff and got it out there and started. The assistant chief showed up and he grabbed the hose and we pretty well had it out before the rest of the guys got there, so it was an arson job. You know, they had a squatter in there that was staying in there and stuff, and the trailer was full of stuff. It was terrible inside the trailer and stuff, but it was set. I assumed by looking it over and stuff, he put stuff up on the door and stuff, liquid in there, and then threw a match and got it and burned it, and then he took off. So I did hire one more lady for the department, and now she'll have to go take a physical and stuff and pass that to be on here. That'll give us three ladies up on the department. 2 of them are probation right now. They have to go to school here coming up in another month or so here on it, and the 240 hours that they have to get into school and stuff to go through. If they all make it, then we will have 3 ladies up on the department. So we're moving along. Sometimes we move too fast on a lot of stuff. They can't settle down and calls that come in there and stuff. But we are doing what we can and stuff and trying to keep the township in good shape and satisfy the people here and stuff on there. As I said in the past, and I say today, you've got a good fire department right here. You've got good equipment so far, and
some of it is getting to an area where we're gonna have to be looking at it, but we've got good equipment, you got good people on the department and stuff, so you should be proud of the township here in Bedford Park. I think it's about the best one around in the area. With the group, you got a lot of young people here that have got interest into our department. They are doing over with what they have to do as far as coming in some nights and studying and staying in practice and things, the stations and stuff. So it isn't that they just lie around all the time. So you should be proud of them. I'm proud of what we've got and stuff. So we've got a long way here to get what we've got and stuff, and you should be proud of it. So outside that, we'll just keep going and stuff. You got any questions? October 8th.
Spaghetti dinner.
We are planning right now spaghetti dinner again down there in the village area. We'll be getting the guys together, get things going on that. October 8th, I believe it is, and stuff. It's on Saturday evening and stuff. We're just as we had it in the past stuff. So I appreciate it if you put the word on out and show up. All that money that comes into there will go buying equipment. That's where it goes and stuff. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is building official, trustee Hires.
Good evening, everyone. The permitting is finally slowing down just a little bit. It's been incredibly busy. I kind of wondered with materials and inflation stuff if it wouldn't. It's still surprising that it's going the way it is. We're seeing a little bit more commercial now, which is nice to see, a smattering of commercial along with the residential. But it seems to be going real well. Don't seem to have any big problems right now, so it's normal pace now instead of crazy pace, so that's a good thing. Any questions, please? Oh.
Okay.
We're going.
And our building and zoning is next, and Kara Doherty, our building and zoning administrator, wanted to be here, but she is at a conference, was going to try to get back, but is not able to be here, but she did send her report. And yeah, like you said, it's still pretty busy though.
Still busy.
The 12 building permits were issued between July 15th and August 18th. 12 building permits, 9 electrical, 3 plumbing, 9 mechanical. There have been 11 zoning reviews done and 4 medical marijuana licenses issued. And all of that generates revenue for us in the township, and that was a total of $26,972 for the month and $191,418 for the year to date. We have one variance that was granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals. And then we're working on our master plan with McKenna and Associates, and they are planning to attend the October 8th spaghetti dinner meeting and try to solicit feedback from residents, get a feel for where the township wants to see this, where township residents want to see us going in the next 20 to 30 years. So that'll be great. So do attend. It's great spaghetti and a good opportunity to share your vision for the township. And then the next Planning Commission meeting is August 30th at 6:30 p.m. And she apologizes for not being at the meeting. So that's her report. And next we have our assessor who joins us tonight. Thank you, Joyce Boondle.
Yep. Okay, so I wanted to fill the board in along with the general public on what's happening in the residential home sales. And of course, everybody's heard they've been close to a person who has actually sold their home, and the prices, of course, are extremely high right now. The one thing that I will tell people is that our assessing is done almost 2 years back. So we're not even seeing the big increases, or you're not seeing the big increases. And I suspect that before those huge ones hit the assessment notices, the market will be either stable or coming down slightly. It's just astronomical right now. It can't stay that way. I did want to give you some statistics from what we call SWMRIC, or Southwestern Michigan Regional Information Center. That is multi-list. That's what all realtors use to list their property and hopefully help them sell the properties. I also wanted to let you know, because I'm going to make a comparison here from what SWMRIC gives us for statistics and what's happening here in our own Bedford Township. So the SWMRIC area covers, and bear with me, Allegan, Berry, Berrien Branch, Calhoun, Cass, Hillsdale, Ionia, Kalamazoo, Kent, Lake, Manistee, Mason, Macasta, Macomb, Muskegon, Newaygo, Oceana, Osceola, Ottawa, St. Joseph, and Van Buren. So when I give you the numbers from SWMRIC, you're going to know they're coming from all these different areas. And so we'll see how we're kind of sizing up with the whole total SWMRIC area. So what SWMRIC says is that the average price per square foot that residential sold for in 2019 was $99 a square foot. In 22, it's $140 a square foot. The average days on the market in 2019 was 15 days. We're now at about 6 days on the market, and some, of course, don't make it that long. The median sale price is always real interesting. In 2019, in the SWMRIC area, $170,000 was the median sale price for residential homes. In 22, it's $240,000. So moving on to Bedford then, to see how we stack up with those, I looked at the 2019, which was a full year. Okay, and so SWMRIC is doing a full year for 19. Obviously for 22, we can't do a full year because the year's not over with yet. So we're using the same time frame as SWMRIC. So in 2019, we had $16,985,110 in sales. There were 109 properties in 2019 that sold. The average or the median sale price was $155,800. In 22, of course, we're going from January through the 17th of August. We are at the same $16,300,046, but only 86 sales. So we've got another whole, several months here before we're going to have a final figure on that. And it appears to me that we'll be well over the 109 that we were back in 2019. So that's just some statistics that I think were very interesting, and we all knew that property values were going up. We just didn't know by how much. So hopefully that kind of helps you put it in perspective. Okay, the next thing, the most important thing that I do during the year as far as I'm concerned are property visits. So here in Bedford Township, when I started in 2014, there were very few properties that had been visited over about the last 30 years. And you can kind of, with your own home, if you've been visited recently, you're one of probably 55 to 60% of what we have done now. And the balance of you have not been visited maybe even as long as you've lived there. So how do I pick the property visits? I don't have a standard. I look for areas that last year, for example, we had the Morgan Woods area, which consisted of 4 different plats. To get all those done, the same influences are throughout those 4 plats. So it made sense to do all those at one time. So that's over a corner of Morgan and North Avenue area, the 4 plats that are there. So I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, now I don't really have a large area like that anymore because we've been kind of working in Urbandale a lot. Because there's a lot of houses in Urbandale. And so I thought, okay, well, let's do something just a touch different this year. And we'll go from the alphabetical plats from the back to the front and do that. What that would do is that kind of fingers out everywhere. It's not all in one area. So those plats alphabetically: West Urbandale, West Main Supervisor's Plat, West Bedford Hills, Wells Plat, Wabascon Heights, and Casper Yildrich Supervisor's Plat. So those are the ones that we felt this year we could handle. And then, of course, any building permits that are issued, we do go out on each of those. If it's a recheck, in other words, if I've been there before, then we're checking to make sure that there's no changes to the property other than what the building permit was for. People might say, well, I took a permit out, why do you need to come out? Okay, because you take a building permit out doesn't necessarily mean you're going to build it. So if I make an assumption, number one, that it is built and put the value on the taxes, that's not correct. I can make an assumption that this 24 by 24 garage didn't end up by being 24 by 32 by the time it got built, which happens. So that's why we go out to the property to make sure that we have correct information. It's all about making sure our records are correct and equal. So that's the property visits that we typically go to. So building permits, we usually start about fall of the year, September, October, to go out and do building permits. So if I've not been there before, then that's a full measure. And I will tell you that most people are quite obliging. We will have some that say I prefer that you don't stop, okay. And I would much rather have someone, when we send the letters out, tell me that they don't want me there versus going out there and then saying, I don't want you here. We can do aerial photographs, we can do from the street, but I want to tell you why aerial photographs can't be used. In Michigan, the Constitution says that we must assess properties at 50% of the market value. We're not going to be able to see a condition of a property. Has it been well maintained? Has it not been from the air? The other more important thing is that if you're looking at a home, and that home, you're doing measurements, and of course all you have to go by is the exterior, the roof line. Okay, some of you have less than 6-inch overhang on your roofs. Some of you have a foot. Some of you have 2 foot. And some, in some cases, are more than that. And some, there's no overhang. So if I use the outline of what I can get on the aerial photograph, and you have a 24-inch overhang, then you're going to get charged more for living area. That's why it's important to be out there. And that's also important to be out there to look at the condition. The condition from year to year even can change in a 5-year time frame, and these houses haven't been visited in 30. So it's very important to be out there and actually visualize. So bottom line, there's just no replacement for physically viewing the improvements on the property. So what I would like to do, I don't know that I'm going to have an informational report every month, but there are certain things that I have routinely asked of me, and I think maybe I might be able to kind of give you an answer that you don't even know you have a question for yet. Okay? So, nice to be here
Thank you.
tonight, and thank you very much, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, Joyce.
All right, you're welcome.
Next, under reports, is our blight official, Mike Savio, couldn't be here tonight. He did give me a brief report about the month of July. He closed 17 cases of blight. He was busy removing trash, garbage, junk from 3 locations with the assistance of AHS. And then has boarded up 2 abandoned homes in July, and I know he's done a couple since then in August already. He is one busy person, and I do hear people stop by the office and talk with him and thank him, people from the neighborhoods where we're getting blight cleaned up who are very thankful for the efforts that he's making and the township is making, so we appreciate that. And Planning Commission, Trustee Beamish.
So we're going to cover the meeting on the 30th, and welcome Kevin Villotson as the new Planning Commission Chair back there. So, Kevin, would you like the room filled for your next meeting?
Sure.
There we go. A couple more weeks, guys.
The more the merrier. Very good, okay. And then our Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee Chair is Tawny Walters. She made it in time, yay.
I did. Thanks for waiting.
We planned it.
I did just look at the agenda, and there is a correction on one of the people.
Oh, do I have the wrong name?
Yeah. It's Danielle instead of Mika Zollner.
Did I have the wrong person?
You have Mika McCarty,
Oh.
and she never called me back.
Oh,
But
okay.
Danielle.
Danielle, okay. What's Danielle's last name again?
Zollner, I think, is Zoellner. She had like a gigantic resume that she came with, which is overwhelming to me.
Oh, okay.
So the Parks and Rec, we have 2 more events this year, and I'm personally excited for the break. And we have 1 more Movies in the Park. It's Wreck-It Ralph. We did just boost that post today, so hopefully we'll let all of Calhoun County know what we're doing and be overwhelmed by that presence. And then we have the Fall Fest that we're still hoping to do a tractor parade through the town. We're working with, well, I have a voicemail in to the chief or lieutenant, the police, and so they can help us with a route that will obstruct traffic not so much. And then we're talking about doing bingo for winter, because we do have a community that I think would benefit from it, and it is a blast. I've been with my grandma a few times. It's abusive. And so we're hoping to work with Lions Club on that, waiting for a call back there. If not, possibly the virtual school. I don't know that we could fit people in here. I don't know how much interest there would be in it. We won't know until we start actually advertising for it, but it's a thought that we're having at least for winter. And then we will hopefully have our 3 seats filled tonight, and then they'll be overwhelmed with the information. So, and I believe that's all I have. I don't know if I told you guys we postponed the barbecue until next year at the last meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. And then legislative and intergovernmental relations, I don't see Representative Hodsma here. Commissioner Frisbee has a commission meeting tonight. He did send a report just to let you know that yesterday the county held a leaders forum to provide information on Parks millage. and a potential for, this is exciting, countywide transportation. The quickest they anticipate any decisions on transportation would be 2024, and any action would create an authority so that we could opt out as a local entity, but if we chose not to participate. So more information will be following on that. Most chip and seal roads have been completed now. They did begin their county budget process last week. They, right now, currently projecting a $4.2 million shortfall. However, they should be able to balance, they said, by November and December with the assistance of their departments and county officials. So that is Steve Frisbee's report, Commissioner Frisbee. Okay. That is it on reports. So unfinished business, we have none listed. We'll move on to petitions and new business. Item 13. Resolution 08-18-2255, resolved by the Charter Township of Bedford to adopt the rules for public comment and decorum as reviewed and approved by the township's legal advisors is printed below. I'm going to go ahead and read this. In the future, we'll have the rules printed and available either on the agenda or as a separate copy for your use. We'll also post them on our website. Whereas MCL 15.263, being Act 267 of the Public Acts of Michigan of 1976, as amended, Open Meetings Act, provides that a person must be permitted to address a meeting of the Township Board under rules established and recorded by the Township Board. And whereas there exists a need for rules to address the issue of public comments during the public comment portion of meetings, including public hearings of the Township, and the Open Meetings Act provides the means to do so. Now therefore be it resolved that, number 1, the supervisor will recognize all persons wishing to speak during public comment. Number 2, no person shall address the Township Board without first being recognized by the supervisor. Number 3, to provide for orderly public comment, each public comment submitted to the board made by an individual shall be limited to 3 minutes in duration unless extended by agreement of the presiding member of the Township Board. Number 4, all comments shall be made from the speaker's podium, and any individual making comments shall first give their name. Number 5, the first public comment time during regular board meetings is limited to items that are on the agenda. The last public comment may be on any topic of interest or concern to the individual speaking. Number 6, public comment is not a question and answer period. It provides individuals with an opportunity to express concerns, opinions, or questions to the board. All comments should be directed to the presiding member of the board. The board will not respond to comments made during public comment period unless it becomes necessary to ask a clarifying question, immediately correct a factual error, or provide specific additional information. Board members may choose to address certain public comments during their personal privilege or announcement time at the end of the meeting. There will be no demonstrations during or at the conclusion of anyone's remarks or presentations. In order to carry out its responsibilities, the Township Board will not respond to comments made during a public comment period again unless it becomes necessary to ask a clarifying question. All public comments shall be directed to the Township Board. The Township Board authorizes the Township Supervisor to A, interrupt, warn, or terminate an individual's public comment when the comment exceeds 3 minutes. B, request that any individual leave the meeting and/or request the assistance of law enforcement officers in the removal of such individual when such individual's conduct is a breach of the peace by interfering with the orderly progress of the meeting pursuant to MCL 15.263(6) of the Open Meetings Act. And C, call for a recess or an adjournment to another time if an individual's lack of public decorum creates an environment in which the board is unable to conduct the business before it. All resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith shall be, and the same are hereby, rescinded, but only to the extent of any such conflict. That's the verbiage of the resolution. Is there support? Dingman. Second? Do I hear a second?
Hires.
Oh, hires, I'm sorry. Okay, discussion. Any discussion?
I think on number 7, I mean, I like the way that it's written, but I don't feel like the first part is needed. I believe the board members may choose to address certain public comments during their personal privilege would be sufficient, just so it doesn't interrupt the time allotted for the public to speak.
How would you like to amend that?
So just removing, unless it's necessary to ask a clarifying question, correct a factual error. I feel like we could probably do that during our privilege.
Sometimes it's needed, sometimes right then it is needed, when they are there and you have to ask a clarifying question because it's not clear what is being said. So I wouldn't want to necessarily strike that because I don't want to restrict the board from gaining other information that they might need.
Yeah, okay, then I think we should be mindful of time if that's the case.
Will you make a motion?
No, I would.
It's just discussion.
No, I don't think it would be, I'm not seeing it as an interruption. I'm seeing it as after they've completed their 3 minutes, if you've taken a note, which I usually do, about what's being said, and I need to ask a question, it would be at the end of the 3 minutes, typically, just to be polite.
So I just want to make sure that they're not interrupted during their public speaking.
And we would still make sure that they get their full 3 minutes. Mr. Heikla got an extra 20 seconds tonight. Okay?
I've got a question. Is this in place of Robert's rules?
No. These are our what we're adopting as a board or we intend to adopt as a board for our rules for public comment. They are not in conflict with Robert's Rules of Order.
Are they bylaws?
There are no bylaws for a township board. There are for a planning commission, but we operate under the statute that guides township boards. Those are what we go by.
Okay.
You have a question? Our attorney is right behind you. Would you like to ask?
Is that correct? Yeah, it's under MCL 4227 of the Charter Township Act. It says that the township board shall adopt rules and procedures for a meeting. So that would be the enabling authority for a
Thank you.
Further discussion, questions? No. Clarification? Anyone else on the board? Okay, so it's been supported by Dingman, second by Hires to approve the rules as read. Roll call vote.
Trustee Beamish?
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood?
Yes.
Trustee Dingman?
Yes.
Supervisor Jones?
Yes.
Clerk Faracco, yes. Treasurer Miller?
Nope.
Trustee Hires?
Yes.
6 yes, 1 no. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to Resolution 8/18/2256. Whereas NP Creek Valley LLC owns and operates a drinking water system serving 1 to 500 located at 70 Creek Valley Circle, Section 21 and 27, Town 1 South, Range 8 West, and whereas NP Creek Valley LLC possesses the ability and willingness to continue effective operation and maintenance of said system, and whereas the Charter Township of Bedford recognizes the need for effective and continued operations and maintenance of said system to protect the public health, and whereas the Charter Township of Bedford deems it impractical for the township to own, operate, and administer this particular drinking water supply, now therefore be it resolved that the Charter Township of Bedford refuses to accept ownership of or operation, maintenance, and administrative responsibilities for said particular drinking water supply. The Charter Township of Bedford endorses the application of NP Creek Valley LLC to continue these responsibilities under state permit.
I so move.
Beamish?
Support for question and clarification. When I read this before the meeting, and I just don't know if everybody in the crowd has the same thing that we do.
Could you speak up?
Absolutely, I'm sorry. What I understood when I read the information that we have with it is this isn't so much us telling them they can or they can't. This is a procedural form that needs to be filled out for the state of Michigan. Is that right?
Exactly. And it's mainly because they're under new ownership.
Correct.
So it had already been done with the previous owners. They had to apply again through EGLE, the Environment, Great Lakes and Energy Department. And so they have all this in your packet. They have all these requirements, one of which is a township resolution adopted by us.
This is just acknowledging their responsibility, and from the packet I read, it looks like they've been doing it all along.
Exactly, they have been, and it's just been, this is just because of the new ownership of the mobile home park.
Thank you.
Okay?
And the same with Bedford Hills across the street.
Correct. Okay, any other questions?
And don't we have to do that every year? Or is it
I think it's,
five?
I think it's done periodically, but this one maybe sooner than we normally do, just because of the new owners. And they have to have this, I believe, to the state by, the resolution that's adopted to the state by the end of next week, so we needed to get this done.
Coming right up.
Okay, so it's been supported by, or moved by Beamish, supported by Dingman to adopt Resolution 8/18/2256. Roll call?
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
Supervisor Jones.
Yes.
Clerk Faracco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, the next resolution is 8/18/2257 with one minor change, and that is what Tawny had told us, that we are changing NICA's name to Danielle Zollner. Okay, so it is resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to approve the following new members to the Park and Recreation Advisory Committee: Jennifer Bradley, Danielle Zollner, and Karen Scullion.
So move.
Support.
Greenwood, moved, support by Beamish. Discussion.
I'm just happy you'll have a full team if this goes through.
And it sounds like they have a lot of energy, so that's very
yeah.
good. That's
How
good.
many applied?
I think 4.
4.
I'm looking at you like you know.
And then you had one that didn't call you back, is that correct? Okay, or follow up, okay. Okay, who may still want to be involved as
Are any of them
Isabella?
present?
Are any of them present? Right now?
One.
Karen.
Oh, Karen is, yeah.
2 were on
Okay.
vacation.
Okay, and 2 were on vacation. Okay. Well, very good.
Thank you.
Okay, so roll call?
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
Supervisor Jones.
Yes.
Clerk Faracco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
Okay, that's great. Resolution 8/18/2258, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to hire Chelsea Reed as firefighter upon Chief Co-Conspirator's recommendation. She must pass a physical examination, and there will be a 1-year probationary period with the fire department. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Dingman?
Support higher.
Hires. Support? It's been moved and supported. Discussion.
Is she
It's
here?
nice, it's just nice to see the ladies getting involved
Right.
and seeing the fire
Right.
department will work for
Right.
her, so that's great.
Is Chelsea?
Girl power.
Girl power.
There you go.
There you go. Is Chelsea here tonight? Is Chelsea here tonight? No? Okay. All right, very good.
Chelsea here, chief?
Yep.
Is she here?
No, she doesn't.
Oh, okay, okay. I was gonna introduce her. All right. Okay. Roll call.
Supervisor Jones.
Yes.
Clerk Faracco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
Tell her congratulations. It's great. All right. Resolution 8/18/2259, resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Bedford to establish a special assessment district for police public safety effective for the 2022 assessment levy. Further, the special assessment district boundaries are to be established as all lands and premises in the Charter Township of Bedford. In addition, the special assessment is to be established at 4.5 mils, and the clerk is to notify the assessor by September 30th, 2022, to levy and spread over all lands and premises. The 4.5 mils will generate approximately $917,426 for the year 2022. Move.
Clarification.
Move. Do you want to
Is there
point
support?
You're moving for discussion, and do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Dingman and Faracco. Okay, so discussion?
Again, I just think it's important for everybody
To
in
understand.
the room, if we can just acknowledge if this is a vote just to keep going forward with what we have, a
Mhm.
decrease, an increase, stay the same, just so people know.
Yes, and Joyce, would you like to just stand up and explain any of this to us?
Probably not.
Good thing you're here,
The
Joyce.
4.5 mils was actually a special assessment, not voted on. And as a special assessment, it's not levied on the personal property, but it's levied on all the real property in the township. And so this is something that has to be done every year, just like their levy for the township operating, which I suspect you'll have next month, maybe.
Okay.
So, yeah, if there's any questions on that, it's pretty straightforward.
It's not new.
Not new.
Not new.
Okay, it's something we had to do at least by next month, right?
Yes,
This.
the 4029s.
Right, okay. Okay, so it's been moved by Dingman, supported by Faracco to support Resolution 818-2259. Roll call?
Trustee Greenwood.
Yes.
Trustee Dingman.
Yes.
Supervisor Jones.
Yes.
Clerk Faracco, yes. Treasurer Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Hires.
Yes.
Trustee Beamish.
Yes.
7 yes, motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're on to item 14. That ends our resolutions. Final public comment, and at this time you can, we adopted those rules. You can refer to those and speak for 3 minutes on anything that you so choose. If you'd like to go to the podium and address the board, you may do so now.
Oh, sorry. You want to go first? It's okay.
I wasn't sure if she was getting up.
Hi, Karen Rocco, Yule Bricks, and I was just wondering, that $150 road assessment that we've had for the last 5 years, is that still on?
The road assessment has,
No, they took it off?
that's
Because this
ended.
was the
That
last
was,
year.
that was
That's
the,
why I'm asking.
it ended, yeah. Right.
It was last year. Oh, was it?
Yeah, last year.
Because I thought it was this year, but okay. No, that's all I had.
Okay. I forgot how many years that was. Was it 7?
Tawny Walters. I just wanted to take an opportunity. I didn't really know what small town living was like until I moved here. I thought I knew what it was like. But the last Movies in the Park, I was just completely blown away with all the help that I got. Thank you, Stacy and Barry, and just the volunteers for stepping up. And I honestly hated it here when I first moved here and was missing city life, but you don't get this in the city. I talked to my neighbor when I was shoveling snow, and that was it. And so I just want to say thanks, and thanks for being so welcoming, because being here without friends really sucks. And, and I just feel like I've made so many great friends and so many great contacts, and I'm overwhelmed by it. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for all of your work.
Ms. Jones, and then you, Peter. Okay, go ahead, Barb. Thank you.
And Barb Jones, and I just have a little story I want to tell. Like Tawny, I too came here from a big city. I came here in 1967 after my husband's stint in the Navy, and it was different, very different. Scary for Chicago girls, wasn't it? But, you know, it grew on me so quickly. And when I came in 1967, I moved to Bedford Township. So I've been in Bedford Township for 50 years. In the 50 years I've been here, I've seen a lot of supervisors, a lot of boards, committees, and I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, this group here, along with REC, and I have to be a little partial planning, our Board of Review group, Board of Repeals, and REC, you're doing great. You know, we have about the best group I think I have ever seen in the 50 years I've been in Bedford Township. And if you think that you can get others to get involved, we'd love to have other people get involved. It's not easy, and you get a lot of ridicule. It's one of those jobs that's really not appreciated. But I'm glad I did it, and I would do it all over again. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Peter?
Peter Van Gogh from 650 Linwood Avenue. And gee golly, I've lived in some big cities too, but I'm not all gushing about this board. Start, I gotta talk fast because that ticker goes pretty quick. One of the proudest moments of my life was my son's friends when he was a sophomore in high school. And they said, did you hear what Josh did in high school cafeteria? So my heart sank. Oh God, what did he do? They said, no, he got up, there was some cool kids from the cool table, the popular kids, were picking on a weird kid. So he got up and he went over and he made him stop. And my son was 6'4", 220 pounds as a sophomore in high school. So I was pretty proud of him. So right now I see you guys as the popular people, because what is an election but a popularity contest? Who's the weird guy lately? The way you've treated Justin Schatz has made me sick. I never paid attention to him, never met him anywhere outside of this building. Didn't watch his videos, I didn't care about his conspiracy theories or any of the rest of that crap. I just watched, I got sent videos to my email. Have you seen this? And one was where he came in here to make an appointment to see the supervisor and was met with, what, 3 patrol cars out front? And did nothing wrong. He was polite, courteous, thanked Kara Doherty for making the appointment for him. So what happened here at this last meeting was ridiculous. One of the trustees said to me, well, it's a show. Very well could have been, or an act or whatever. And I said, quid pro quo. Remember that? George Bush the Senior? Quid pro quo. It's Latin. It means tit for tat. You do something, you do something. You do something, that's things escalate. You people are not innocent. You're not innocent of what happened here last, 6 weeks ago now? You're not innocent. You're not innocent at all. You're just as guilty as anybody for proliferating that. I want to remind you of someone named Socrates. Greece, ancient Greece. Known as the birthplace of democracy. Socrates is known as the father of democracy. He had a student named Plato. Socrates also believed that you had to challenge democracy. You had to challenge the leaders. You had to constantly challenge it to make it function properly and test it. But he's also known as a gadfly. It's another word for horsefly, an irritant, fly in the ointment. So the democracy he set up, the senators had him murdered because he was an irritant. Are you frightened? You make me sick.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wish to make comments to the board? Chris?
Chris Desatel. First of all, I'd like to apologize to the board for my vulgar language, but I will not sit in a seat and let someone assault me verbally. Never, ever will I do that. So, the reason for me being here, and you kind of addressed it in your supervisor's meeting, Joni, but since I came for this particular reason, I'm going to go ahead with what I have to say. I've had several people that I know in this township come up to me and ask me what's going on here. Why can't they pay their taxes? Why is there no one here to take their taxes? As the previous treasurer here, I find it very appalling that the treasurer and or her deputy cannot show up and do their job that they took an oath to do for these residents. I'm very appalled by it.
as I think all of the residents should be. So, that's my comment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments, Chris. Any other citizen wish to address the board?
Steve, you're up. You recognize Steve.
Steve Touch, Colonial Drive, Augusta, since 1974, off and on. I have books for each one of you. You can use them if you like. You don't have to look at them. I'll just put them out here.
We have these, Steve.
I understand that. That's wonderful that you say you have them, but there you go. Okay?
Thank you.
The reason I put those up there is because of what happened July 25th. Okay? I'm very disappointed. Before the meeting, that was an emergency meeting. We had to have an emergency meeting. 4 days notice that was put into some Parks and Recreation. I don't know how many of you actually heard about it. Very few apparently, because tonight everybody's here. 25th of July, hardly anybody was here. Okay? Well, before the meeting even started, an individual basically grabbed a hold of another individual. I won't say who that individual is. And I interceded between them and basically told that individual to knock it off. It's unprofessional. And you don't lay your hands upon anybody. I don't give a frick what the reason is unless somebody lays their hands upon you first. That's the rules of etiquette. Okay? So then I come in here, and it's also videotaped, which I have a copy of it. And that individual's going after that individual again, over here. Okay? And I had to remind that individual again that what you're doing is against the law, and you need to knock it off, and you need to behave yourself because you're on this board. And you represent Bedford Township on this board, and you need to conduct yourself as such. Okay? Now, number two, I only have a minute, 19 seconds left. Number two, I tried to get an appointment to meet with this supervisor that I've never met before, never introduced before, and this individual is, quote unquote, terrified of me. Okay? Never even met me before. How can you be terrified of someone you don't even know? All right? Then my wife, while I was out here talking to the treasurer, the assistant treasurer, my wife was told by another member of this board that she's terrified of me. And she's known me for, I don't know, since she's been here. For many, many, many years she's worked here. But she tells my wife that she's terrified of me. If you guys are also terrified of me, and I haven't done a freaking thing, maybe you're in the long line of work. Okay? And I would suggest we get bulletproof glass, bars on the windows, and slam everything tight so that you feel secure. Kind of goes back to the old deal of in schools where you had to have the chocolate and the baby pin and a safe place to be able to feel protected. If you feel that way, you need help. Have a nice day.
There's no response to public comment. Thank you, or you'll be ruled out of order. Those are the rules. Who else would like to speak? Ma'am?
Melody Tyner, 129 Colonial Drive.
We can't hear you.
I was the one that tried.
Press down.
You're done.
I was the one that tried to get an appointment with you, and you didn't even acknowledge by calling me and saying, no, I don't want an appointment. I talked to your deputy, and she said she couldn't make the appointment because you were so afraid of people that you would have to make that appointment yourself. And lo and behold, I never heard a word. I guess if you fear the people this much, that you have to have extra security, you have to hide from the people by not even being here, maybe you should look at another line of work, because you're here to service the people.
This is no discussion in the audience right now. She's speaking, so please don't interrupt. Thank you.
It's not the other way around. The people are supposed to support you. You are
are supposed to support the people, and that's not happening now. There's too much crap going on. The thing with Justin was unbelievable. I couldn't even believe I was sitting and listening to what was going on. My husband tried to quiet things down, and now you're afraid of him? He's been in this office way too many times, and never anybody was afraid of him. And because he tried to quell the situation, you're terrified of him? Seriously? And you wouldn't speak to me either? I think there's a problem on this board, and it needs to be addressed. Because if you can't be open to the people, you have no business in this job. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any, again, there's not a display afterwards. Anyone else wish to comment? Adam?
Adam Michaelin, former Bedford Township supervisor here. Why am I even here? I'm here because back 7-8 years ago, I was given a letter in this township saying that I had to get rid of my chickens. I said, man, that's weird. My neighbor has horses. I don't have any neighbors in my backyard. So I got involved. I started to find out that people do things the way they want to do things here. I started out by going to the planning commission with the gentleman in the end that was chairing that planning commission. And at that first meetings, I was told, this is all on record, this is all recorded that we can see, so we don't have to like question anything. But at our planning commission meetings, we didn't even have a public comment time on the agenda. We were told at the meeting when we questioned it, me and Mr. Schatz actually, at the meeting asking, why don't we have this? And we said, well, you're here in the audience to watch us do work. That's what we were told. It was mind-blowing. So when I got in the office, that's why I ran for office. I was like, some basic functions is not even happening here. So when we praise the planning commission, yeah, the planning commission is finally doing something because they're hiring a professional that can actually do the planning for us, because our plan has been garbage. Because we finally got a Parks and Rec plan that made the master plan look really stupid. Because the things going on here has not been done. Just the basic functions has not been done. I asked the treasurer first weeks, like I said, and she showed exactly what happened when I was in office. When I found out that there's a deputy required for 2 offices, not my office there, because we all have individual offices, right? The supervisor, the clerk, and the treasurer are completely separate entities that function for themselves. You don't get to control anyone else and manipulate things, do you? I want to know who is putting things on Facebook that the office is closed. Has the treasurer once requested to put something that her office was closed in the recent past?
Yes.
That has happened?
I did the last.
For the recent ones, okay.
I did.
What you all have done is manipulate things, and a pattern has formed now. I love having this camera here.
I do too.
It's great.
Yes.
It's wonderful every single time. I'm the one that requested the cameras to be here. Wink at me. Look at that.
I'm
Winky,
agreeing.
winky.
Agreeing
What
with
is
you.
that? I don't understand. That's
Just agreeing with you.
agreeing with me. But anyways, the treasurer, when I was here, like she just screamed at me in the office, because that's what I had to deal with. You know this, Joyce. You can admit it or not and talk about it truthfully.
Your time's
But
up.
that's what you
Your
are. You
time's
need
up.
truth.
Your
I
time is
will
up.
admit it,
Your
so
time
it's
is up.
none of your
Thank you.
business, as I said.
No,
Stop.
no,
Thank
no,
you.
get out of here, get her out of here.
Stop. You, both of you, please stop.
He's not going to stand
Please
here and
stop.
talk about it.
Anyone else wishing to address the board this evening? Anyone else? Any other residents address the board? Thank you.
These are the treasurer, that was me.
My name is Bruce Mike, Lynn Drive. I experienced myself, the treasurer not being here, just trying to get a dog license. Took 3 times. We almost did go on vacation because we couldn't get our dog to the
proper people because we didn't have a license. We all pay tax dollars. Why can't we have somebody here? There's, if I don't go to work, I don't get paid.
Here, here.
And we know how to recall people in here. Maybe we need to look into that for this situation too. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other citizen wishing to address the board? Any other citizen wishing to address the board? Oh.
I'm not sure. Dave House. My daughter moved into the township about a month ago, and she has the same problem. She's called and called and called, can't get a dog license.
Dog license. Thank you for your comments. Any other one wishing to address the board during this? Anyone else? See anyone? Okay. All right. We will move on then to trustees' personal privilege. Trustee Dingman, would you like to start?
No, thank you.
No comment? Trustee Beamish?
No. Enough wind has been expelled tonight.
Can you speak up?
He said no. Trustee Greenwood?
I just want to acknowledge a citizen in the audience, Miss Karen. She has come in to help tremendously. I know a lot of people are saying that work isn't getting done. I can assure you work is getting done because I've been behind the scenes pulling documents, trying to organize things. She volunteered a lot of her time. She also goes and picks up trash along Collier Avenue and in the Wellington neighborhood, and I just want to acknowledge her kindness and her efforts to clean up the community. So
Neighbors
thank
helping
you.
neighbors, so. Wonderful. Trustee Hires?
No, I'll let everyone go home in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, we're doing well. Okay. Very good. Announcement by chairpersons or elected officials. So, Clerk Farraco.
I just have a couple of items. Barb, you talked about being in the township for 50 years. And how many years have you volunteered with the township?
Since 1988, I think.
A long time.
40 years.
Yeah. So that doesn't go unnoticed. We appreciate that. Another thing, it was a surprise a couple weeks ago. The daycare, Karen's daycare came, and Rory came, and they drew all over the sidewalks with chalk, and it was just positive, and it was nice as the people came in to pay taxes or vote. All of these kind messages were across the sidewalk, and it was just nice. It was nice. So I appreciate that. Joyce Fundel, for you to take time out of your evening to come here and explain things, it's I think it makes it a lot easier to understand for all of us. So I thank you for that. And that's it.
Very good. Very positive. Treasurer Miller.
I do. I've got a treasury report, so we don't get behind on those. The general account's got 1.841 million in it. The payroll's got 15 in it, but uncashed checks will bring that down, or when they cash them. The tax account has 882,000 in it, and that should always go to zero because it gets paid out. And the tax reserve, which is like our reserve fund, is 1.4 million. The sewer fund is 451,000, and the road fund is 1.46 million. And I think we're 2 million in the hole on that, so we need a $500,000 from general to cover the road bond that's still out. Is that roughly correct? Yes. Okay. And then the other things I want to address is my attendance. I did make a 5-page timeline of the last 5 weeks ever since the incident with my husband happened in the township. That did bring a lot of basically family crisis into play. There was 7 warrants issued in a week, all basically unfounded. One including myself for breaking up a fight, public information. You guys should know. But they've been posting my absences on the webpage, but only mine. So building department hasn't been here for a week, nobody knows. I didn't see Joni for I don't know how long, but she had my keys to my office stolen from my deputy treasurer for at least 10 days, 12 days, I've got it on this timeline. She took them and confiscated them, saying that she was responsible for the building, but when I talked to the lawyers, they said that everything had to be the same for everybody. So Kara's got keys to her office and your office. Everybody here's got keys except for my deputy treasurer and Tara, which Tara comes and borrows yours keys when she needs to come in. Same thing my deputy did, but she took keys for my keys and my house keys, everything, for 10 days, 12 days. So not appreciated. If you're gonna put absences up on the website, I suggest that you keep it the same for everybody, like the lawyer said to do, and put everybody's absences up on the website. It will create a hostile working environment. I already don't feel good about this place. Your attitude towards me has been poor at best. And I've been polite, but I'm addressing it now. I did have COVID the last week, so I couldn't help it. My deputy also contracted COVID 2 days after I did. So I can't help that. Everybody that left messages for the dog license, I called them back. I try to pull everybody back in and catch up as best as I can. But between the stresses here and being sick, it definitely could have been better service. Chris, did you ever use the computer while you were here?
Absolutely.
Why was it completely blank when I walked in, not a single document?
Point of order, this is now a question and
I have
answer
no idea
between
what you're
you.
talking about.
I was just wondering.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe you didn't do it.
Okay. Point of order. Are you done?
Done.
You finished?
Can't
Okay.
be specific.
Okay, so and maybe you can discuss that after the meeting. If you'd like to be quiet now, you can, or you may leave the room, okay? Last warning. You understand? Okay, thank you. Supervisor's announcement. I think context is important for everything. Context is everything. And I'm just going to say that, yeah, there is a reason for fear. There's a reason for fear in everybody who was left at these offices after the last several weeks. I'm going to say that at our last township board meeting, I was accused of corruption. And that was put out on YouTube. And I am going to tell you that I got some of the most vile threats. I had police officers that were begging me to play the tapes, the voicemails that I received. They shook me to the core. Machete to the back of the head, dragging me out to the woods to rape me. I mean, I listened to my husband listen to these calls. They were all instigated by YouTube videos put out by Mr. Schatz. And I'm going to just be very clear about that. That's exactly, I've never had a threat on my life before, ever. And I was afraid to come to work, afraid. I was afraid to leave my house for days. And I am telling you, that is why when Mr. Schatz came in to make have a meeting with me, I was scared. And I didn't want to leave. Tara was scared. Kara texted me from her office, and she said, help me. I was on a phone conference. Actually, I was talking to Mark Hires, and I get this text, come here. And it is Mr. Schatz in Kara's doorway, standing there. Of course, open carrying. I support the Second Amendment. But when you have a hostile individual who has already accused you of corruption and other malfeasance in office, and it is completely bogus, completely fabricated, you are ginning up a lot of fury and hatred. You may sit down or you may leave. You may sit down or you may
Are we required to
leave.
sit during meetings?
Because I didn't see that on the list.
You've been sitting, just stay
I
seated.
just need to stand up and leave.
Then leave the room. Then leave the room.
He's standing up over there. You've been standing up the whole meeting.
You've been sitting the whole time.
I can speak up. I've stood up multiple times randomly during the meeting as well. I'm sorry.
All right, I'm gonna continue, because you're not gonna intimidate me this time. You're not gonna intimidate me this time. So just let me finish my comments.
I didn't even know you.
Yes, you do. You were at that meeting. You
Were you
came
really
in.
assaulted?
So let me just put, because context is important. And I am not a fearful person. You know, I do trust, but I am also going to be safe. So after we started receiving the threats, and it wasn't just me, it was the building and zoning administrator, it was other people in the office. Joyce got a message that next time we'll bring the big guns. That is a hostile work environment right there, right there. And I am telling you, the legislature is going to have to get out in front of this. I've talked to our lawyers about it, that the use of social media, and without any restriction, you can post a lie, you can post whatever you want, and it spreads like fury. And the people who are completely innocent have nothing to say about it. There's no way you can catch up with those lies.
Right.
And so we were threatened. We shut down the office for one day after those threats. That was in collaboration with the police department. We did that. And then we started putting into place what would be security for us. We got a security guard. That cost us, and actually that was Mr. Schatz that cost the township 3 weeks of a security guard being here, because I wanted the staff to be able to come to work and feel like they could do their work and not worry about who was going to come in next and waltz down the hallway and sit down in our office. Knowing how much they were upset with us, carrying their guns. In this day and age, I'm going to be cautious, and I am going to protect our staff to the greatest extent that we can. I want to say, and I brought this because this is part of the garbage that went out on YouTube, that I'm spending $5 million, that I approved, that I was so shocked when Mr. Schatz brought this up, that we are spending $5 million on a River Road water project. That is untrue. We applied for the first phase of a project through the state of Michigan, through the Drinking Revolving Water Safety Act. And we worked with our consultant, CEI, on this. We have here, if any of you want to look at it, who believe that this is a corrupt act, the third clause of this resolution. Whereas the board will not enter into an agreement to do this project without assurance that there will be 100% loan forgiveness. That means we're not doing it if we don't have that assurance. This happens all the time. This is what we will do. This is just a proposal to do the project. We stop it if we don't have that assurance. That is not corruption. That is doing due diligence for the people who live on River Road, who've been bathing in PFAS, who've been drinking PFAS. That's the right thing to do. That's the good thing to do. And as for never having a special meeting that Mr. Heikkila has on tape, or Mr. Schatz has on tape, that we've never had a special meeting called, an emergency meeting called in the daytime. Mr. Heikkila called on May 24th, 2017 at 9 a.m. a special board meeting. That was under his administration. He called a meeting to spend $166,000 that was left from a SAW grant. I cannot find any RFPs, any competitive bids. All I see are prices, proposals for that. And so this is not, we did not do something that was illegal. We did not do something that violated Open Meetings Act. We posted exactly when we needed to post. We notified everyone, and we were in total compliance with the statute. So I just want to clear that up for the record. There will be no YouTube video redeeming us on this, but that's okay, because the people here need to know the truth. And that this board does not operate in anything but the most transparent manner. And we will continue to do so. I'm not going to play those tapes, but if anyone wants to ever listen to them, they are down at the Battle Creek Police Department Crime Lab right now, because there are several of them that the police believe that they're going to be able to trace and actually link directly back to the offending parties. And we're going to be all for it. And that being said, I wanted to leave on a happy note, and we do have a lot of wonderful volunteers here. Honestly, I do see it every day, neighbors helping neighbors, and I do appreciate that. As for the keys, the only keys I asked for from the deputy, who had worked here for a total of 6 weeks, hadn't even been fully trained yet, were the keys to the office, the outside office, in consultation with our lawyers, who said she should not have access to the building unless it is open. There was never a question of me restricting her from getting into the office. She was let into the office every time she came. I was here. The only times I have not been here have been when I had teaching responsibilities, but I'm still here in the morning before I had to leave. I answer my voicemails immediately. I respond to emails even on the weekends. So in terms of me not doing my duty, I take offense to that. But that being said, it is 8:35, and unless there's any other business, we will adjourn the meeting.
Access Vision, your voice, your community.